what? Math, huh? Hey, get him. Mr. F, huh? Math, what? Hey, get him.
Hey guys, Deondre here, and it's been a while, but I'm back. I'm not reacting though. I'm gonna be starting a new Deondre Reads because Orange has sent me a new thing he's working on that's not Attributes of the Heart. So it's not Attributes of the Heart. I don't know what it's called. I need to ask him while I'm editing. Hopefully he answers because I need a title so I can upload this video. Anyway, what am I gonna say? I don't know what this story is about. I haven't read it yet. So I'm gonna read the first 2 chapters? I think there's 2. There has to be 2. Like, if you don't have 2 chapters, I don't want to talk. Yes, there are 2 chapters. Alright. We're gonna read the 2 chapters here. And yeah. Let's do this. It's been a while since I read, so I'm a little crusty when I read. Crusty, crusty. And do mind my facial hair here, I'm just too lazy to shave it off. I'm sorry guys, I'm just lazy. But anyway, let's read. Logdate 2555. April 16th, insert year. We're gonna say this is 3065. I'm joking. This is like 3018. I'm basing this off a year that me and Orange off a roleplay that me and Orange are in right now in on Pokemon Amino. I don't know why I'm sponsoring things now, but anyway. I don't know. It says 11:30 and it says Valoy 1. I don't know what all that means. I'm not the smartest guy, as you guys can tell. Anyway. Come on! You can do it! I exclaimed. The car surged forward. I could practically feel the wind in my hair as the sports car sped down the track. Wait a second. What was that in the middle of the road? A blockade? And I was heading right towards it. There it was. Wait, what? There was no time. Wait. I can't read. There was no space or time to go around it. I frantically tried to turn the wheel and swerve or stop the car. I could hear the smell of I could hear and smell the charring of rubber. Bright sparks erupted and burned the air around me. The dark was barreling towards the wall quicker and quicker. This is it. This is my demise, I had thought to myself bitterly. The car crashed into the blockade, both objects exploding into smithereens. Game over. I tore off my headgear and slammed it onto my bed in frustration. Dang it! I always lose on that level. I still can't figure out how to get past that blockade. I sighed and sat up on my bed. Must have been playing games for a while. It's almost lunch. I shivered. It was cold in the habitat areas. Well, it was cold everywhere in the sector I had lived in. Hold on. I feel like he's basing this off of the roleplay that me and him are in, but I'm not sure. I'm just assuming. Sector I had lived in, but the habitats were always the worst. All the pure white walls and floors in the facility just made it feel even colder. I touched the scanner next to my door. I could hear a faint "access granted" coming from the also white console. Ooh, my eyes are watering. The door moved aside, sliding into the wall as if it was never there in the first place. The hallway that my room lied in smelled like a terrible interpretation of sweet-smelling flowers. Slightly sweet, but just feeling not right or off, I heard the swish of another door opening from farther down the hall. I guess I'm not the only one that stayed in their room until now. A 12-year-old girl opened her door and walked walked in the hallway. I smiled and ran over to her. "Good morning, Vix." She brushed her jack? She brushed her jet black hair out of her face to look up at me. "Morning, Valoy," Vix responded. Oh my gosh. Oh, his name is Valoy and the girl's name is Vix. Alright. I get you now. She continued down the corridor, me tailing her. "Any ideas on what's on the menu today?" Vix glanced up at the ceiling and started playing with the buttons on her oversized coat. A clear sign of thinking from her. A clear sign of thinking from her. I can't read. "Lixlum." What the heck is a Lixlum? She responded, or how Allie calls it, potatoes. I guess since it's like far into the future, they kind of call it like different stuff now. That's pretty cool. Allie. Wait, hold on. She finished. Allie. I didn't know her very well back then, but she knew a lot. She was the only one who knew about the planet of myth, Earth. She was the only one who knew about the planet of myth, Earth, after all. She had to be smart, otherwise the Guardians wouldn't have spent so much time on her. Allie was 17, while I was only 13 at the time. She was the only one that actually hailed from Earth. Hence the odd name. Everyone else was born here. Allie often gave information about the Earth, how the Earth used to be like before the Queen settled a colony there. Allie even knew a weird language called English. What a funny name. Oh, so this takes place on a different planet, alright. I groaned when I heard the word Lixlum, and again at the word potatoes. Well, the Guardians say it's the machine specialty. I rolled my eyes. I thought specialty meant you were good at it. I complained. Vix just shrugged. She walked into a large room that contained the machines that served the inhabitants of this peculiar sector food. There was about 100 kids running about in the large room. They all looked pretty different. One was brown and one was peach. Some had blue eyes, some had brown. I myself just had emerald eyes and brown hair. Vix had jet black hair and cold, icy blue eyes. Everyone was running around now, but then a guardian strided into the room. The sound of stomping feet and high-pitched squeaks came to halt immediately. We all stood up straight, with our heads behind our backs. Vix kept trying to blow her hair out of her face. The guardian that came into the room clearly didn't want to be here. He must have gotten the short end of the job stick. "All right, get in your lines to receive food." The slam of sneakers on the cold hard floor sounded in unison as he formed a tight line. The ugly looking machinery slat food. Oh, so he slat food on someone's plate up ahead. "Ew. Lixlum," I commented. The heck did I hit something. I'm sorry, I'm like rubbing my bed and it feels weird. I don't know why. I commented. The heck did I just say? What was that noise? Vix just shrugged. Yet again, Lixlum was like mashed potatoes, but green and even less appetizing. Oh, thank you, Orange. I hate mashed potatoes. They do. Orange, I agree with you. Well, I'm not sure if you're saying that you don't like mashed potatoes, but I agree with you. I hate mashed potatoes. They just don't look appetizing to me. They don't really taste like anything to me either. Like, at least put some salt on there. Like, screw that gravy. I hate gravy. Put some salt on my mashed potatoes, man. That stuff will make it crunchy and salty. Anyway. The machine made a disgusting squish noise as it threw up Lixlum onto my plate. I strolled over to the usual table that my friend sat at. A boy with a very dark complexion and shiny amber eyes walked up to me and Vix as we sat down together. Whoa! Looky! You got Lixlum? They ran out, so I had to settle for Ixbackle. Oh, I spat a little bit. Oh, gosh. He mumbled. You mean oatmeal? Vix asked. The dark boy shook his head and frowned. You spent way too much time with Allie. I don't really like that whole English thing she drags around with her everywhere. It just doesn't feel right. Vic stared at the boy in pity. Aw, don't worry, Hinsfo. I like that name, Hinsfo. You got some really interesting names, Orange. Like Valor? Valoy, Vix, and Hinsfo. I'm actually really interested in this right now. You don't like it purely because it's foreign. Eventually, I bet everyone will be using it. It's certainly easier to say. So I'm guessing like Hinzo, he's sort of like, I don't want to say racist, but sort of like prejudiced towards like Earth a little bit. Like Earth language. He doesn't like Earth culture or language. He's just against all that. I'm guessing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Orange. Hinsfo snorted and rolled his eyes up to the moons. I'll never use English. I can promise you that. So, he might be, or he might just be very ignorant. Wait, read that already? No, I didn't. Vic sighed and showcased a fake sad face. I guess it's just not for everyone. I normally had nothing against English. It just felt weird on my tongue. Hold on. Let me adjust my brightness. Ooh. Hopefully it stays that way. Now you guys can see the detail of my chapped lips. I need to put on chapstick! Okay. I don't see why everyone is so infatuated with Allie. All she is a link to a colony that the Queen barely uses anymore. What's the point of her info? Hanzo? Hinsfo muttered all of this bitterly. I rose an eyebrow. What's up with you and Allie? Did you have a crush on her and she rejected you or something? I verbally pondered. Hinsfo glared at me and his face became darker than it already was. Of course not! I would never like Allie like that. I don't even like her in the first place. So stuck up and pampered. I bet she doesn't even have to eat this stuff. Or slop, I mean. Hinsfeld poxed his Ixbackle. I bet she doesn't even like Lixlum. I bet she eats like the Guardians. Did you see their last meal? That kid Chavez looks so good. Oh gosh. Should've drank water before this. It's that issue already again when I started Attributes of the Heart. Me always having... My water's all the way over there. I can't stand up. I'll finish this chapter now and go get a drink of water. Hinsfeld was drooling and daydreaming now. Chicken. Vix corrected. Hinsfeld rolled his eyes again. Oh, brother! I don't know. I like putting on motion when I read. He looked ready to argue about this all day. How about we stop talking about Allie and just eat our food? I suggested. Hinsville grumbled a bit and stabbed his food with his fork before continuing to eat. It was going to be a long day. There wasn't really. Wait. There really wasn't a lot we could do in the facility. The main activity for fun was either playing the games the Guardians provided us, read, or just walk around. I didn't really feel like playing a game again, so I decided to walk to Vix's room. I knocked on her door. It's me, Valoy! The door soon after slid into the wall. I strolled inside. My room was very clean and undecorated. Vix's room was the opposite. Her floor was littered with crumpled pieces of white paper, making the floor look like it'd collapse underneath your weight any second. The walls were clad in drawings and long papers filled with words too complex for me to understand. I smiled and leaned on the wall. What you working on now, Vix? I cocked my head, curious on what she was doing. Vix sat up on her bed, closing the book she was reading and dusting off the bed, which was covered in more paper. Vix liked to read. A better wording for that, Orange, you should have said Vix loved to read. I don't know, it just sounds better. I don't know. That's just my opinion. You don't really have to change it. The Guardians had plenty for her to do. The Guardians had plenty for her to do. Oh, the Guardians had plenty for her too. She didn't find the games or walking around fun, so instead she read books. Vic shrugged. A common staple for her. Nothing yet. I'm using my time to read, she responded. I saw on the bed next to Vix. What's this one about? Vix grinned. She enjoyed telling me about what she read. This one's about a boy thrown into an apocalyptic future where he has to fight mutants and aliens. It's so cool. Vix really liked this certain book. I grinned back at her. Sounds awesome. What's the boy's name? I asked. Jeff. My name's Jeff. What a weird name, Vix giggled. Right? I stood up. Well, I won't keep you from reading any longer. I walked back into the hallway, leaving Vix to her reading. I walked past the door of stone on my way to Hinsfo's room. The door of stone was the door to a part of my sector that only the Guardians could go into. None of us had ever seen it move, hence the name. We could only speculate what was behind its cold metal walls. And that's when I heard it. A faint whirring noise. I couldn't distinguish where it was coming from. I stopped moving, stopped breathing even. I kept my ears open, closing my eyes too so I could hear it. I knew it. My door flew open. The noise was coming from the door of stone. The whirring noise was getting even louder. The door started opening with a small chink sound. My eyes widened and I ducked behind a nearby wall. I heard heavy footsteps land on the metal floor, making a clanging sound. A guardian, I realized. Sure, there was no point for me to hide, but I'd rather not talk to a guardian at any cost. They didn't look normal. They always looked menacing in their mirror. And worst of all, their breath really stank. I like how that's the worst thing of all. But bad breath is really bad. Like, I have 200 I have like those like containers of the 200 Tic Tacs. I eat them every day so my breath don't stink like poo-poo. Where am I at? Here we go. I heard another step of doorsteps. Doorsteps don't step. I heard another set of footsteps. Then there were eerie whispers. Recently, the Guardians started using the older version of the tongue I know, so none of the children could understand their private conversations. I could make out a few words though: transportation, rocket, in a week, disposal, Earth, 4 children. I could only get one answer out of these words. A lucky 4 of us will be going to Earth in a week? No way. Vix would finally be able to see her dream planet. And maybe I can convince Hinsfo English wasn't that bad. Vix wasn't wrong about it becoming the language everyone uses. Originally, I never figured out why the word disposal was thrown in there. I had always wanted to see Earth too. For all we knew, the Guardians and Allie lied about it. I really hadn't been breathing for a while, so I gasped loudly for breath. 2 sets of heavy feet seemed to turn towards my direction. I gulped. They'd know I had been spying on them. I could barely stand up before a towering, seemingly irritated guardian stood over me. He looked ready to hurt. I was about to read it like the Guardian. He must know I was eavesdropping. It's my demise. It really is my demise this time. We are now reading Chapter 2 of I Got My Water. I drank like literally the whole thing. But that's not important. And that's not even the title of this chapter. Because I don't know what this book is called that Orange is writing. Anyway, let's do this. Logdate 200. Wait, I keep saying 200. 2556. April 4XX. Insert year 3018. 12:30. I'm guessing it's 12:30. And Valoy 2. Even though I couldn't see the Guardian's face, I had felt him sizing me up, seeing if I was a threat to the confidential information he had just shared. "What did you hear?" the Guardian asked, their voice harsh and metallic. I almost replied back, but then I realized he was speaking to me in old tone. If he knew I could speak a bit of it, he'd know I had been eavesdropping. I had to somehow fake it. "Well?" the Guardian hissed. I just stared blankly at them in the eyes. Or, well, I assume their eyes are. Oh my gosh, that's bright. I'm sorry if I blinded you guys if you guys are watching this at night. Where I assume their eyes are, as if I didn't understand the question. The Guardian's piercing gaze only got worse. A bead of sweat started to form on my forehead. I swear, if you could see the amount of tense drifting in the air, you'd be able to cut through it with safety scissors. "Gibberish," I stammered. The metal of the Guardian's face shifted organically, as if the face underneath was raising an eyebrow. I wasn't completely lying. There was some parts of the conversation that I couldn't pick up. The other Guardian must have dismissed the sound of Valoy's gasp for air before, but after hearing talking, they came around the corner as well. I really hoped and prayed that they wouldn't be able to tell that I was somewhat lying. I think I prayed too hard because the original guardian was now reaching for his holster. I cringed and shut my eyes tightly, waiting to be clobbered. But the clobbering didn't come. I peeked out from the tight space between my eyes from squinting. The other guardian had their hand on the original guardian's shoulder. Come on now. The boy clearly couldn't understand anything. You're scaring him. Besides, he doesn't seem to know his own tone, let alone ours. I had never appreciated an insult so much. The second guardian's voice was just as metallic, but it sounded a lot less harsh. I assumed it was a female, if guardians even had genders. The first guardian grumbled and took his hand away from his holster. Fine, he mumbled. The metal on the female guardian's face shifted into an upturn of the spot where her lips would be. Perhaps we shouldn't talk about important information near children habitats anyway. She let out some kind of nice laugh. Then again, it was a guardian laugh. So basically metal screeching against a chalkboard, but softer. The guardian led the first one away and towards the door of stone. He looked back at me and the metal shifted to reveal a scowl before he turned back and disappeared with the chink of the closing door stone. I let out a huge sigh of relief. I let out a huge sigh of relief and gasped for oxygen. Sweat. I love how instead of air, they use oxygen. I like that. Sweat was dripping down my forehead and leaking onto the floor at this point. I was such a wreck. I always choked under pressure. In that time of my life, that was the closest pressure I'd have. Jeez. It took a few seconds for my limbs to start functioning again. I cautiously started to Hinsfield's room, my original destination. Hinsfield's room wasn't as much as a wasteland like Vix's, but it was still pretty messy. Trophies from games in random... Hold on, I'm reading ahead. I'm gonna do so. You guys know what I'm gonna do when I get to this part. Hinsfield's room wasn't... Oh, wait, I read that. Hinsfield's room wasn't as much as a wasteland like Vix's, but it was still pretty messy. Trophies from games and random habitat objects stood on... Wait, let me read that again. That was horrible. Trophies from games and random habitat objects stood on, you guessed it, white shelves that lined the room. Hinsfield was sitting on his bed, admiring a trinket. When he saw me, he quickly stuffed it under his bed sheets. Oh! Hey, Valerie! He smiled a bit forcefully. It wasn't an odd sight for me to come into Hinsfield's room and him hiding a trinket that he was fiddling with. In fact, it happened quite often. Hinsfield readjusted the ski goggles on his head. Hey, Hinsfield, I responded, studying the amber-eyed boy a bit more. I could feel how nervous he was. Nervousness air definitely wasn't as thick as intense air. Oh, as tense air. Gosh, I said intense. But I would still be able to cut through the nervousness with safety scissors. Excuse me. Are you okay? I inquired. Hinsfield let out a dry chuckle. Yeah, man. I'm fine. As well as always hiding things, Hinsfeld was a terrible liar. They went from. They kind of went against each other in awkward predicaments. I shook my head. Don't even bother trying to lie. You always laugh, or well, try to laugh, when you're lying. Gosh, to clear my throat so much. I'll drink some water in a bit. Hinsfeld laughed without humor and finally let out a loud sigh. I'm just really getting a bad feeling from something. I don't know what it is. I just feel like something bad is gonna happen. I just don't know what. He had been running his right hand through his hair and constantly readjusting his ski goggles as he talked. Another nervous tendency. Wait. I guess I get what you mean. Sometimes, before something bad happens, I can sense it. Hinsfeld nodded. Well, yeah, but that's normal sixth sense kind of stuff. At least, this feeling feels a lot worse than normal ones. I'm gonna make his voice a little raspy. I don't know why. I just want him to have a raspy voice. I don't know why. Hinsfeld's voice, to be specific. I could see Hinsfeld playing with the trinket under the bedsheet. Poor guy had a lot of nervous tendencies. Yeah. Well, we can't really do anything about it, can we? I stated. I plopped into his bed, nervously removing the removing the bed sheets that cover Hinfeld's left hand. The dark-skinned boy was holding a small watch. Silver on the outside, the actual watch part pink on the inside. It was small. It was a small, delicate thing. It looked like it'd break if Hinsfeld tried to wear it if he was an adult. Oh, your mom's watch again? Hinsfeld glumly nodded. Yeah. Honestly, I feel bad for even having it. Most of the other kids only had one thing left behind from a parent. Both of my parents left one each. My mom left my watch. My mom left her watch. My dad. Hinsfeld poked at the plastic. Wait. I read that in a normal voice. I meant to read in his raspy voice. I want his raspy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's do this. Hinsfeld poked at the plastic that was in the eye socket of the ski goggles. Left me the goggles. Well, I guess left isn't the right word. Inherited is more like. I nodded sympathetically at Hinsfeld. Yeah, you're really lucky that you inherited 2 items. I don't even have one. At least Vix has her oversized trench coat from her dad. Hinsfeld let out another laugh that seemed fake, and drier than the food here. Shots fired. Yeah, I don't feel lucky. Even though I should. Our parents were strong, weren't they? His tone changed, a lot less dry, most moist and sentimental. It was my turn to sigh. Yeah, they were. Still can't believe they managed to survive in the habitats, especially when they were first taken. Taken? Taken. I heard in the beginning the Guardians didn't even know how to make oxygen, so families would drop like flies. Eventually, they perfected it though, so yeah, pretty strong. I stopped. I wanted to keep talking. I wanted to keep being sentimental about the only thing I could. The only thing I had. Memories. But my body didn't want me my body didn't want me to for some reason. I could feel my throat closing up almost before I could even finish my sentence. It was silent in that room for a while. The door of stone opened today. I finally managed to stumble out of my mouth. Hinsfield's eyes lit up. He had always been satisfied with the door of stone. Really? No way. Well, what'd you see? Hinsfield leaned forward on his bed, clearly interested. I laughed as shriveled as Hinsfield was earlier. I chickened out and didn't look. Hinsfield growled loudly. Hey, at least I had a good reason. I overheard two guardians talking. They were speaking in the old tone, so I could only make out some words. I think I know what their plan is, though. Hinsfield grinned. I think our four lucky kids are... Hold on. Something on my foot. Okay, there you go. I got it off. It's like some weird thing sticking to my foot. It was hurting me. Oh my gosh, it's dark again. Here we go. Wait. Alright, there you go. Hinsfield grinned. I think our four lucky kids are getting to visit Earth in a week. Hinsfield's grin disappeared. Aw, all that build-up for nothing? Who cares about Earth? I snorted. Most of the kids on the ship? Because of Allie? The amber-eyed boy grumbled. Allie. I don't like that language she teaches to us. English. Ugh. Sounds terrible on my tongue. He stuck out his tongue in disgust. Well, it may sound terrible, but it goes a lot easier on our tongues. The humor returned to the boy's laughter. Well, I can agree with that, Hinsfield mumbled. I stayed silent for a moment. There's just one word I couldn't piece together with the sentence. Disposal. I don't understand why that word was thrown in there. I think I misheard something. Disposal? Hinsfield pondered verbally. Yeah, I don't know either. It doesn't make sense for it being thrown in there. Maybe the Guardians want us to dispose of waste from the ship to Earth instead of out in space? I rose my eyebrow. That might be it, but I'm not sure. Oh well, I guess it'll eventually make sense. I got off the bed and stood up. Well, I feel like I've overstayed my welcome. Hinsfield shook his head. Oh no, you didn't really. But if you feel like you did... He didn't finish. I tapped on the door to Hinsfield's room, and it slid into the wall. I'll see you at dinner? I asked. Hinsfield absent-mindedly nodded. Yeah. Dinner. He looked almost like in a trance. He must be thinking about something interesting. He gets like that when he does. I quietly left the room, leaving Hinsfield alone to his thoughts. The door made a slight whoosh sound as it closed behind me. I really didn't feel like going back to my room. I was burned out from playing video games and my encounter with the Guardians, but I didn't want to explore anymore today. And that is the end of chapter 1 and 2, ladies and gentlemen. I actually like the story, and I can't wait until chapter 3. I do need to know what the name of this book is called, and I will message you while I'm editing. Wait, I don't know why I'm doing this, because I'm editing. By the time you see this video, it's already uploaded to YouTube, so I don't know what I'm saying. But I I will make sure to get the name from Orange, and for the next chapter, I will be referring to it by its name. So, I don't know. I just like saying so. Um, I do like the characters. I do like Valoy's more like curious nature. Like he wants to find out like what's going on at the end of chapter 2. Like he wants to know what's going on. He is a little sneaky when he lies though. Vix, I do like Vix. She's like an intelligent kind of girl, and she knows like most of like the English culture because of Ally, and she seems to have had a close relationship with Ally. Not sure about Valoy, but he seems to have had some tie-ins with Ally too. Um, Hinsvo, I do like Hinsvo. I don't like his stuck up attitude, but that's what keeps a character interesting. So you kind of have to deal with that. Um, I would like to see like what all these characters look like though, because like when I see like visual aspects of people, I like to imagine them like talking while I'm like reading. It makes the story more interesting. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna say for today. So you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys leave a like. And if you guys want more Deondre Reads videos, make sure you comment down below. And make sure you subscribe for more. I make reaction videos, I make cartoons, I make skits, and I do reading videos for some reason. I just like to read. I actually do like reading. I say I don't like reading, but I actually do like reading. I don't know. It just depends on what I'm reading. Like if it's something boring, like something I don't really care about, it's like, oh, I hate reading. But it's like if it's something like this story that Orange wrote here, I love reading. So yeah. So I guess I'll leave a link to the story down below, and I will see you guys next time. Deondre 7 out.